Alright guys, so this is what we're going to be tying today, Flashback Pheasant Tail. Okay, a pretty simple, easy pattern to tie. There's a little bit of difficulty, but we'll see if I can walk you through, the best ways of doing this. So the hook today I'm using is Risen's barbless 9231. Okay, it doesn't have to be barbless, but this is a 1x short shank and 2x strong. They are pretty strong for the size of the hooks, size 16 by the way. They're quite sharp. I like these hooks a lot. And they're a good deal for what they are. And then the thread, I'm using Vivas 10-aught. Okay, you can use anything you want, but I like the 10-aught. It's nice and flat, and you'll see how that comes in handy. And then I've got lead wire, okay, 0.010. You don't want something really heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're only doing 5 wraps here. This is going to do two things. Obviously give a little bit of weight. And the other thing is it's going to kind of bulk up the abdomen here, which is going to help, I think, and give it a nice look. All right, so you want to push that together as best as you can. You want to have it about a third of the way down from the eye of the hook, roughly. And then we're just going to start our thread right in front of it. You want to leave a little room at the head just so we don't bulk up that area. You jump over it. Now, I kind of pushed it back when I jumped over so we can pull it up. And then we'll just wind that on. You can break or cut off your thread. Push that back just a little bit. When I broke off that thread, it pushed it forward. Now, I'm going to spin my bobbin counterclockwise to flatten out this thread. It's going to give a nice even and flat under wrap here, which is going to help. We're going to come back to just about the start of the bend of the hook. And next I've got a pheasant tail, hence the name of the fly. And we want about 5 or 6 of these fibers, like so. And we want to, what we're doing is we're stroking it out from the stem here into where the points are even, and then we can just rip that off. We want to keep those points even. And we are going to keep, as you can see, I got the fuzzies or the squirrelies at the end. We're going to keep that on for a second. Going to hold everything together. We're going to grab the tip and do a pinch wrap, just a single wrap, and I think that is pretty long of a tail. I'm going to pull this back and make that where I want it, and that looks about right. And then we are going to just wrap up to about where the wire ends, or starts, sorry. And then cut that off like so. And we can set this aside, and those squirrelies are going to keep everything together. Next I've got, you can use gold, you can use silver, you can use whatever you want. I've got copper wire in small. And we'll just start that right behind the lead. What we're doing is we're creating a nice taper on this, so if you were to start it kind of midway, then you would get a bump there. This is just going to keep that nice even tapered body. And you can see I just spun my thread again, so that's going to flatten it out. Okay, we'll go back one more here, right to the start of the bend there. You don't want to go too far back, or that tail is going to want to be angled down. Now you can do this right here with this size of a pheasant tail. You don't want to do this, what I'm going to do right here, with a larger one, because there won't be enough fiber to reach the top. But we're going to basically start it where it reaches almost up to that lead, okay, and right at the tail. And we will wind up. Okay, we want to check to make sure, yep, that's about where the tail is. And we're going to come down once more, about halfway. Go ahead and flatten out your thread once again. Okay, about halfway, maybe a little more than halfway, and then back up. And what we're doing is we created now a nice taper. Now this is pretty, the pheasant tail is a little bit you know, the fiber is not super strong. So I like adding a little touch of super glue. That's Loctite, it's called. And we're gonna start wrapping up. And you know what? I'm sorry. Now we cut the fuzzies off, or the squirrelies at the end. All right, so we're gonna start wrapping this up, and you wanna keep these from kind of winding up on themselves. You wanna keep them nice and flat as best as you can. I'm not the best at this myself. If they kind of wind up a little bit, that's okay. Not the end of the world. Just, it's not quite as durable. I don't think it'll look as nice, but you just want to wrap these up the hook shank here until you reach about where the lead is, and then you can capture that. A couple wraps to lock that into place. Pull this down and trim off close. Don't cut your wire, of course. Now, or I'm sorry, your thread. Now we've got the wire, and we wrapped clockwise, I think it was, with the material, with the body. So we're going to go counterclockwise. You know what? I'm not liking what happened just then. All right, there we go. Well, it just wants to go down like that. That's really weird. All right, that's fine. So we're going to counterclock this as even as you possibly can make it. Up, okay? And I like to go up to the top, and I'll make a wrap over it. Now when you counter wrap this, it's going to want to pull out. So we make 2 wraps, and then we're going to switch directions here. Use the wire to switch directions like so. We're going to wrap backwards twice, switch directions, and wrap over it twice. That should lock it into place. That'll keep it from spinning. And then I end at the top like that because it leaves a little bit of a sharp spot, and we're going to cover that. All right, next I've got this medium pearl tinsel. Now you could use Flashabou as well. You use any color you want also. And we just want to wrap this, so tie this in right directly on top. You want to look at it, make sure that it is right on top. You do not want this off to the side. So you want to wrap this back enough so that way you give yourself enough room for a wing case, okay? And this stuff is squirrely, as you can see. It's just going to get in the way. So I've got these little hair clips I got from my daughter. I'm just going to clip it to the back of the vise there. And now we're just building the wing case. And that's the flash part. Now I've got more of this pheasant tail. And we're going to just do the same thing, align those tips, make sure that they're nice and even. We're going to rip them off. And this time we will go ahead and cut off those squirrelies at the end. And then we're going to tie this in, and you want to give yourself enough room up front. So I would say about the length of the wing case, maybe a third of the whole hook shank, okay, up off the front. Okay, we're going to tie that in, and then we will stroke these out so that way they lay nice and flat. We're going to come back to right there. Check to see, is that a good wing case? I'm going to make a little bit a little bit deeper of a wing case. There we go. And that'll be a nice wing case. I think that'll look really good. All right. Next, I got this strung peacock curl. Okay. You could use a peacock eye, but this peacock curl comes with so much, and it's not that expensive, and it's really useful. I'm going to pull off 2 pieces. Okay. And that's for the size 16. If you're going like an 18, you want to go a little bit less. If you're going bigger, maybe 3 pieces. So I cut off the fragile tips. Those can break pretty easily. And then I am going to just wrap this on right back to the wing case there, the start of the wing case, and up to just shy of the legs there. Okay, so then we just wrap this, touching wraps, We're building that abdomen. All right, right there. We're going to go ahead and capture it. So I'm going to make 2 wraps over it. That way, pull it back, another 2 wraps. And then if you pull, well, that's a little bit strong. Usually I can just rip that off, but wow, never seen peacock herring that strong. I don't want to damage it, so let's go ahead and cut it off. But usually you can just rip that right off. All right, next we are going to push this with our finger, kind of fan out those fibers, and then we can kind of separate some on either side like that. Let's do a little more separation. Bring those down. This camera in my way makes it difficult. All right, so you want to pull them over. Down and over. All right, so there's the one side. And pull this over, kind of angled up a little bit. There's the other side. And now we can pull this up over. Now we're forming the wing case. And you just want to make sure, see how these are going to lay. You want them to lay nice and flat across the top. You don't want them to, you want them to kind of fan out. You don't want them to cross each other. There, that's a nice wing case. Make 2 wraps with it, and then we can kind of push down with our thumb, kind of separate those a little bit. All right, so there's that. 2 wraps over it. I'm gonna pull it back. We're gonna wrap over it twice. I made a couple wraps in front of it. Didn't really quite work there. I'm gonna cut that off close. And now we take the flash, and the flash is really easy to see when you tie this in. If this was tied in off to the side, it would look funky either side. So I'm going to pull it. I'm going to make sure that lays down so it's directly straight across. Adjust that if you need, like I just did. So 2 wraps with it. We're going to wrap back twice. Come in, and by the way, these scissors are by Risen as well. See, Risen's, and they're the mitten scissors. Spring, I think they call them spring scissors, but they have the finest little tips on them. It allows me to get in super close, cut that off. That really fine tip is not on most scissors, and I'll show you a comparison with some others. But now we're gonna whip finish. Oh, what happened there? All right, I need to tighten my vise a little. All right, so we did a whip finish. Now I've got a little bit of piece of this sticking up. That's okay, we're gonna fix that in a second. Let's go ahead and tighten this before we lose everything. All right, that's looking good. And you could fish it just like that. Good to go. However, I'm going to add this. This is Solares's Bone Dry. You could use this like a varnish on the whip finish, but I'm going to do one other thing as well. So first we're going to add a little bit right up by the whip finish. We're going to cure that. Okay, make sure you don't get in the eye of the hook there. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to paint it right over that flash. And that's going to really enhance that flash, make it stick out a little bit more, make it kind of more flashy, basically. We're going to do one, and then we're going to just do a second. Now, if you're doing a much larger fly, you want to go with, this is a UV curing resin, that's what it is, called Bone Dry, ultra thin, they also call it. But it's basically a UV resin. You'd want to go something a little bit thicker. This is really, really thin stuff. It's good for whip finishes, but you'd want to maybe do something like the thin formula for the size 14 or bigger. If you were gonna paint over the top, and that would give a little more kind of bulk up there. But there we go. That is pretty much it. You can kind of get these legs sticking out a little more if you want by pulling on them, but you know, there's that. So there's the Flashback Pheasant Tail, no bead. There's still a little bit of weight with that lead, which I think is really helpful with these. But it's not going to be like a jigging motion. A lot of these with the bead, it'll kind of want to sink differently. I like the way that this, for a little bit of weight, I like the way these ride in the water a little better with that weight a little further back. But there we go. There is the Flashback Pheasant Tail. If you guys haven't tied this before, definitely give it a try. It's not that hard once you get the hang of it. You can tell I made a couple mistakes, but it still turned out fine. And this is totally fishable. So it's really hard to really mess these up too badly to where fish won't want to bite them. Oh, I've got a little bit of the thread kind of caught back there. But it's hard to mess them up. And fish will eat them. They love them. These are kind of a staple in most nymph boxes. So definitely give them a try. You know, and they're a good one to practice on because there's a lot of technical things with it that, like I said, you mess them up, they're still going to fish well, but you can learn some of the technical, you know, techniques with this fly. So I do like it. Really good fly for kind of, you know, right past the beginner stage. So if you just started, maybe try something a little easier. But if you've been tying for, you know, a couple months and got, you know, quite a few dozen flies under your belt or a couple hundred flies, this is a good step up. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe. Also, check out my sponsor, Risen Fly. They are the ones that made these hooks, and they make those scissors, and they make beads, and they've just got great prices on everything that they offer. These hooks, for instance, I think there's 25 hooks, and I want to say they're right in the $4 range. For 25 hooks, it's you can tell 25 pieces right there. And for the quality of hook, that's a really good deal. A lot of these places want to charge, you know, $10 for hooks. They might be close to $5 now. It's been a while since I checked their prices because I buy in bulk from them. But you know, everything's going up right now. But you know, at this moment, I believe they're in the $4 to $5 range for 25 hooks. And I mean, it's just hard to beat for those prices. Same thing with their beads. They also sell rods and reels, and I mean, everything is amazing. In fact, they've got a rod that's $100 that is one of my, or it's $119. And it's one of my favorite rods, honestly, I've ever fished. It's a really good rod, and you guys, and they're also offering you all discounts. So type in McFly at checkout for 15% off of anything you buy at their shop. And with that discount, it'll make that rod right around the $100 range. So again, it's on your first order though. So don't, you know, it's anything you buy. So you add whatever you want on their shop, into your cart, and then hit that 15% off, and you'll get type in that discount code, and you'll get 15% off of everything that you add to your cart for their first order. And then after that, sometimes you can sign up for their mailing list, and sometimes they offer some discounts here and there. And in fact, I've seen some that are 20% discounts on certain items. So you know, don't let that hinder you from ordering from them again, because even without the discount code, it's amazing prices. So definitely check them out. Go to www.risenfly.com and type in McFly at checkout for that 15% off. Well, I will see you guys on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.